And hello, everybody. It is Tom Chenault and his little boy, Adrian. And we have got a great show for you today on legacy leadership. Man alive, I am telling you, talk about a hand grenade hitting somebody. A year ago today, Sarah Robbins, on top of the world, had a rug pulled out from under her that was unbelievable. And I cannot even imagine what happened to her. But what was so great about what happened is I don't know if this book that she wrote would have had anywhere near the punch that it's got today had she not had that happen. Because she has got, lots of people write the book because that's what they did. What she just did was she is doing what this book says, and it's all coming back 10 times better. It is crazy, and we are going to have some fun today, and I'm so excited about it that I completely screwed up the open. How are you, Adrian?
How are you?
Never better, man.
Good.
I'm actually a little nervous because I'm telling you, Sarah Robbins is truly a beast, and she has been through a long career over at Rodan and Fields, and I got hit by a hand grenade like that one time. The same kind of deal where they closed suddenly and you are left with, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And she went to work, and I am so excited about that because there's so many people in network marketing that have gone through COVID. They've gone through this, that, and the other thing, and they're done working and they want their business to come back without building it back. And we have got to change that because the influencer model and all that other stuff is absolutely keeping us paralyzed.
Yeah.
You buy this book, you are out of the popcorn popper and you are off to the races. Sarah Robbins, I want to go to you first. How are you, Adrian?
I'm doing awesome. I totally agree. I've been a fan of Sarah's for many years. I told her before the show that I feel like I know her, even though I think this is our first time ever getting to chat with each other. And when I heard you wrote a book, and when I got to hear you with Richard Brooke the other day, you guys just did a fantastic job, and I've been looking forward to this.
And she's got young kids, and she loves God, and all the stuff that you love, she loves, and you have a ton in common, and that's very, very exciting.
Amen.
So what the heck are we going to do, Sarah? What's going on with you? Today's the year anniversary of that.
Oh, can you believe it? I literally said, do you know today? Literally, I mean, kind of a cool day that we get to connect and tell the story and talk about all the things. But 1 year ago today was when I got the news, and I'll quickly fill everybody in on that story. But I was a school teacher who was looking to supplement my income back in the recession of 2008. I lived in Motown, Motor City, Metro Detroit. When the automotive industry crashed, so did job stability for many people. And although I was the most requested kindergarten teacher in the building, teacher tenure trumped performance. And I always say pressure promotes you. So that is actually how I ended up looking for extra income. Didn't find Rodan and Fields when it was indirect sales, was first a retail brand. So I was there, I was freelancing, I was doing events, $20 an hour when they were underneath the retail counter, and was in the right place at God's time. I was praying for an opportunity. And one day our account executive called and she said, good news and bad news. Bad news is you're going to lose this job. I was like, oh, great, another one. But the good news is we have another opportunity for you. She said, we're going to leave retail, go into direct sales. Do you want to do this? And I will just say, I knew nothing about sales. Definitely was not great at networking. I was a shy teacher with no network. I was young, broke. They were young and broke like me. Like that was it. But it was my mom who was savvy, successful serial entrepreneur. And she was like, we'd be crazy not to do this. I'm the firstborn, so I am the compliant child. I listened to my mother. Well, I at least need to try this. And I was not a fast starter. It took me 3 months to recruit my first person. Funny story, we had no upline. So my mom and I, when we first heard about this, were like, this is so big, don't tell anyone. We didn't tell anybody, which is even funnier. But through becoming a student of the profession, going to the events, buying the books, doing the thing, we learned how the business works. Long story short, ended up building $1 billion a year sales team. So our team started doing over $1 billion in sales by year 5. We went on to do over $2 billion in sales, and not only changed our life, but changed a lot of people's as well. So that's the exciting part of our story. I'll wait for you guys to get into kind of the next part of the story.
So yeah, let's camp out here for a minute. I don't know if it was my generation, my demographic, whatever, but there was a moment in time where I felt like every female I knew was doing Rodan and Fields. And that is not a small thing to attain as a company, to kind of create that ubiquity. What what was that all about? And you were a major player in that happening. What are some of the things that you learned about how you got lightning in the bottle?
Do you know what I love was Rodan and Fields was homegrown. There was not one person in our business who came with industry experience. And to the point that the business pretty much, as we knew it, shut down nearly 20 years in.
Yeah.
I did not sponsor one person from another business. So literally these were just everyday people, mainly women and a few good men. And, really, I think the beauty of that was there was this level of simplicity when we joined. And it was just everyday people who were excited about the opportunity. They're sharing it with a friend. I remember when we started, it was literally, week to week, we're like, hey, invite friends. We're doing this again next week. Hey, invite friends. We're doing this again next week. We meet in coffee shops, clubhouses. Eventually would just fill these big rooms. And I think we kept it to one simple skill set. If I had to boil it all down, like, what did we do? We taught people how to invite. That was really it, which is like second nature skill set, right? And so I think that, especially today, and now I see it's like, okay, here we are nearly 20 years later with the experience we have, with the leaders we're attracting, all of these things. And I'm like, sometimes we overcomplicate this business model. There's a marketer that I love to follow, Jenna Kutcher. She calls herself the lazy launcher. She's not lazy at all, but you hear why. Like if you listen to her podcast, she tells why. And I'm like, I'm a simple seller. I just think like what we simplify, we multiply.
Yep.
And so we kept things so simple. It was so grassroots. And I also think like none of us came with any preconceived ideas of what we needed to do or what it could look like.
That's a really cool thing. And I love that sort of organic aspect to it, right? Because, these days, right. And I'm sure you're building all the different ways that you can, but you obviously have access to leaders. You have access to a lot of things that future kindergarten teacher who's, trying to figure out how to pinch a few pennies and whatever, it has, would have no ability to do. And so the magic coming from that simplicity, that, that consistency, right? Like, hey, we're doing this again tomorrow or next week or whatever, that's where it comes from. Right. And I know you talk about that a lot in the book. Would love to just kind of have you highlight some of those lessons learned about what it takes to create that momentum.
Yeah, that is the thing. When we started, it was no joke. We were meeting in a church coffee shop. I think it was like in a basement. We finally got the revelation of, we should start telling people. I remember literally Xeroxing like on the school copy machine, the invitations to the event. And I'm giving it to people and people are like, this doesn't look like the creators of Proactive made this. I'm like, they didn't, I did. Like, we were doing our own marketing, doing our own thing. Denise, hi. We did not have any mentors, nobody to look up to or even to learn how to emulate. We failed forward so much. I mean, that's the truth. But the one thing we knew is, what we had was excitement. We would excite and invite. And we would set up our products, hand out the little, Xerox neon sheets of paper. And we tell people, hey, we're doing this again next week. Hey, we're doing this again next week. Invite a friend, invite a friend, and invite a friend. By the end of our first month, we had 300 people on our team. And one of our founders, her husband was like, he calls us and he's like, y'all have to slow down. We're not prepared to handle growth. But I will tell you, you talked about consistency, Adrian. So 18 years later, I was still doing those weekly events. Now, eventually it's like they go from local to virtual and they may change a little bit. But that is something where, you have success. It really is consistency and simplicity really over time. Oh my gosh, Jordan, this is like a big reunion.
That is the coolest comment ever right
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
And can I tell you a quick story about Jordan and Donna? Can we okay.
About you and Donna Johnson?
Yes.
That's the best story because I wanted you to tell that at the beginning because there's a bunch of posers on here that are going, oh, well, she's here to recruit all our people. And it's just such horseshit. And I want you guys to understand that you are looking at a professional at a level like Richard Brooke and Jordan Adler and Donna Johnson.
Yeah.
These people do not want to recruit. They don't want to recruit you. They want to recruit you into making this a bigger, better, more professional profession. And now she's going to tell you a story.
Yeah. So such an amazing story. And by the way, these are mentors to me. So when I'm seeing them on the screen, I'm just so grateful. And that has been, I will say, in my company, I didn't have mentorship, but the industry I did. And I would go to those mastermind events that we used to have here and loved them, would go. And I remember in the back, starting in the back, like as Jordan said, like frantically taking notes. But eventually would kind of move my way up front. I would go every single year. First, I was a student, eventually ended up being a speaker, but these leaders took me under their wing. So this is such a cool story. At one of these events, it was called the MLM Mastermind event, right? I would go. And I remember hearing about Donna Johnson and her story. I was in skincare. She was in, at the time there were more skincare. And I really looked up to her. I had read her story. I had followed her journey. And I remember seeing her after a session. And this is when, I'm nobody in the industry. I'm just starting. And she's in the bathroom. And I literally chased her in the bathroom. I'm like, are you Donna Johnson? I really want to talk to you. She's like, let me just go there first. But she came out and graciously talked to me. And here was the coolest thing. I shared this on Richard's podcast the other day. If you guys didn't hear it, you've got to go back and watch it. It was so good. I did my first, I think it was one of my very first retreats for the ladies and our leaders. Again, we had no one to look up to and to see even like what was possible, to have to hear the stories, to really see the vision. And we were doing an event in Arizona. And I remember Donna saying, invite your leaders to my house for lunch. Now I look back and I'm like, I was sitting in Donna Johnson's home, one of her beautiful homes. She put on this lunch for my leaders. I'm like, I should have at least offered to pay for the lunch. She puts on this beautiful lunch. Jordan Adler comes like as a special guest. And they're showing all of our leaders what is possible. Nobody was exchanging information. Nobody was prospecting. It was literally like just pouring in. And those seeds that were planted literally was like the birth of my team, because all of a sudden they saw what was possible. And they're like, I want that story. Or if you hear Jordan speak, and he's such a talented, like I always tell him, he's one of my favorite speakers, one of a talented storyteller. And I love the simplicity of how he tells stories, which it anchors in, right? As a former teacher, it anchors in the teaching, the training you actually remember. But I'm like, without even knowing it at the time, like we were sitting in the presence of legends and they planted seeds and they poured in. But what it did was it painted the vision for what's possible. And I do just want to say this. I feel like we are the only profession sometimes. And I think, who did I hear say it? It was at one of the mastermind events. Like we circle the wagons and we're like, but also too, it's like we get so scarce. We get scarce with relationships. And now it's like with the internet, everybody has access. I am just such a believer that it's a healthy profession is healthy for all of us. Yeah. And now I've taken the seeds that they've planted. And now I'm able to do that for the same thing. I'm like 18 years in, I did not recruit one person from another company. That's it. That was our story. But I've been able to pour into so many people now along the way, but that's because I saw how it was done. I had great mentors. I had great leaders who poured into me, in those seasons of my life too.
And you built 15 strong legs inside of Rodan Fields.
Yeah. And we had at any given time directly, like people I personally sponsored, 50 people that were ranking up, but 15 who were at the very top of the pay plan.
So you weren't riding on the back of anybody. You set that baby up, lit it up, and kept them going. And what I love about your book is you're never, ever in a management mode. but you're constantly in a management mode, and you're never in a recruiting mode, but you're constantly in a recruiting mode. You have to do both, everybody, and they are watching you, and it is that simple. And you've got to duplicate simplicity, which is what your book is all about. I love it because it walks people from A to Z. And it's important. I mean, what you do with a customer is different than what you do with a business builder. And your terminology of what you do struck me and stuck out. You just did a good job on it. I think people should buy this book.
Thank you. Well, the fun part was it was actually supposed to come out before I got the news. And then all of a sudden the news hit and I was like, well, apparently God has another chapter to be written. And you know what it challenged me to do was to say, let's put all of these systems to the pressure cooker and let's see what actually sticks. Like, let's see what performs. And I think what's really neat is sometimes, like when we read these books, it comes from an element of like, here's what I built over the years. And yes, there is, of course, some of that wisdom. But it brought the perspective of wisdom. But when you have to start over in the trenches, I mean, literally, I am starting with 0 customers 1 year ago. 0. I had to start completely over. You know, I always led with excellence, but when you start over, you start with a different level of excellence. Because I'm telling you, I had to fine tooth comb every single word, every single invitation, every single follow-up. Everything. I had to go, is this still what's working today? Even with social media, technology, et cetera. So it brings the perspective of somebody who's like fresh in the trenches, building a team, starting from the very beginning, but also somebody with the wisdom that has come, you know, over the years of building as well. So it's kind of a neat perspective.
Yeah, it for sure is. And you know, there's such a big difference between idly wondering, you know, if I had to do it all over again, what would I do? And being thrust into doing it, and you know, not an easy way to go and workshop the book. I'm sure you would, if given the choice, probably wouldn't have gone that route. And yet, there's such a benefit that comes from that, and I think that's really cool.
One thing you're willing to do, which is pretty amazing, and I saw Richard Brooke copied it after interviewing you, by the way, is go out and you'll help train companies. I mean, you'll hop on a call and help organizations inside of other companies learn the fundamentals of this book, because we've got to go back. We've got to protect the goose that laid the golden egg called the network marketing profession. And it's so beautiful to see you doing that. And I heard that you live in Dana Point, and what a beautiful place. My wife and I, Denise, went there and stayed at that 4 Seasons or something that's right there on the.
So beautiful.
I'll tell you what, I've had hotel rooms that cost less than the steak. I mean, I about went bankrupt at that restaurant. I was looking for somebody to come and pick up the tab. It never happened. I'm still working that off on my credit card.
You told me you were coming in town, I would have done it.
Oh my gosh, I'm still shaking, but it worked out. Jay Archer, unbelievable, owns a network marketing company. This is Michelle Barnes. I saw Michelle, and she'll be on the show next week. Ryan Chamberlain, the senator or something from Florida, is coming the following week. We are the mouse that roared, and the leaders are really, really grabbing hold of each other and trying to bring the fundamentals back. And I truly believe you and Richard and Jordan and a few people are leading that band. And I just want to thank you, because I don't want to cave to anything. I love this profession. It's been really good to me. I've been able to live a long, long time, Denise and I, inside of a company that has stayed around for 30 years, like yours has been around for 75. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how old you are, but you had 75 years, you're going to probably be dead, and your kids, your kids and your grandkids will be getting the money. And that's what legacy companies instead of shiny pennies is really kind of important.
Yeah. And I want to say something about that, because here's the thing. It was like the news of Ferdinand Field sent shock waves in the industry. And again, I still can't believe it. It's like, here we are doing this interview exactly 1 year to the day. Okay. It scared everybody. And yeah, we saw it then again with Beachbody. Then we saw, Modere. But here's the thing. When we look at how long the industry has been standing, right, over 100 years, and when we look up at how many great companies there have been and there are, this should not create fear in people, but it's like what you said, we need to fiercely protect it, by locking arms and lifting one another up, right? A healthy profession is healthy for all of us. That's a really important thing. So think about this, in that moment, because we had great success compounded over that good chunk of time. It wasn't a question. And I remember I was talking to Blake Mallon, some friends at DSN, and it's like, okay. And people were so helpful in terms of, what do you want to do? It wasn't just people that were trying to pitch me with opportunities. Of course, got a little bit of that too, or a lot of that. But to me, by the way, didn't get offended. I was thankful for opportunity in the moment where, and maybe I'll fluff some feathers here. That's okay. I was not offended when people reached out to me. Not at all. I was grateful because I'm like, in your moment of need, it's like, today I'm somebody's answer, be somebody's solution. In that moment, by the way, there was companies that I found out like later on, I'm like, well, these were great companies, but I didn't even know. Nobody shared it with me. I listened to the ones where people shared or people reached out. But all of that to say, going back to Blake was saying, what do you want to do? You could do consulting. You could do, lean more into your coaching. You could take on a corporate job. I'm like, oh, that sounds dreadful. You can start your own company. I'm like, that's a lot of work. I got 2 businesses, 2 babies. I have 2 boys. They're 4 and 9. At the time, they were 3 and 8. And I'm like, it took me a split second to say, of course, I want to do it again. And when you think about it, it's like, where else can you do something that is on your time, on your terms, where you're not trading hours for dollars, your time for somebody else's money? It's a low cost, it's no risk. People are profitable right away. You can help people, at a really incredible scale. And I'm like, of course I want to do it again. And so, when people look and they hear my story, and I always make sure that I share this, when people hear my story, I don't want them to sit there in fear. Okay. I don't want them to go, oh my gosh, what if this happens to me? Okay, so it happens. You're not starting over. You're starting with wisdom, with experience, with relationships, with systems. But this is the best profession on the planet. And what you said earlier, okay, about Dana Point, Southern California, I'm surrounded by successful people. Like, not even a drop in the pond compared to the success that I'm surrounded by. And when people, and I always love hearing people's stories, and I ask them, a little bit more about their story. And when they talk to me, I mean, we've had some of the most successful people, their hero stories. They're like, wait a minute, what? You don't have overhead? Like, you don't have employees? You don't have a brick and mortar building? Like, I gotta do what you do. And I'm like, yeah. I even look at people who like do some things, internet marketing, this, that, the other. They've got teams of people in their house every day. There's nobody in my house except for my kids. I mean, that's the coolest thing. And so again, it just wasn't a question of if I would do it again. I just had to figure out, okay, what am I going to do next? That's it. It took a split second to make that decision. So like, I am head over heels in love with the profession, what it does for people. And, I just think that we have to continue to be aware of like what we're putting out there, staying away from passive aggressive posts and, things like that. It's like, let's elevate, let's lift one another up. Let's consider who's our audience, not other disgruntled network marketers. It's like, who are you trying to attract? If it's a potential prospect, then paint the possibility of what the opportunity and the community can offer to them. I'm a little fired up now.
So, what about your mother?
Oh, my mom. I love her.
Is she working anymore, or did you just retire her?
Yeah, so she brought me into the world and brought me into the business. So she is in business, the same company with me today. And the beautiful thing is, though, is, she's been able to enjoy a little bit more of life and grandkids. They just moved next to my sisters who are living in Tennessee. So they're really, really enjoying that season of their life too. And my sister's in business too with me.
And you've got 2 small kids, a 4 and a 7.
4 and 9.
4 and 9. So you're busy with those kids too. I saw you just didn't you just go to Disney World or something, or Disneyland? So,
well, we've done that. We just went to Yosemite. I don't like, they wanted to camp, so I did my closest version of camping. Okay. It happened to be in a hotel room, but we were in the woods. Okay.
Glamping.
Oh, that is so exciting.
Boys,
but you're able to work, you're able to live life, you're able, one of the things in your book you talked about, and I can't remember the line, of course, I should have written it down, but one of your lines is, would you put some part-time money into achieving, and then the dotted line, being able to spend time with your kids, or being able to retire your mom and dad. And that's kind of what you tell people, to try to create that curiosity that maybe just a few hours could change my life dramatically. And
Yeah.
that seems to be a real good line to me.
I want to give this as just a practical tip because this is the teacher in me. I love giving practical tips. And this is how I teach my team, people who I coach, how to craft their story. Too often we focus on, and I'm like, this is not the network marketing of the 1900s, friends. We're not flashing cash and checks and all the things. Like, it's goofy. Let's focus instead of money on meaning, and instead of income on impact. Let's tell people, because not only is it compliant, but it's believable. And you think about it. So in part-time hours, what does your business allow you to do? And I'm going to ask everybody who's watching on my feeds, on your feeds, type in one word or one little phrase as fast as you can. In part-time hours, what does this business allow you to do? Put it right now in the chats. This should build your belief. Reading each other's comments should actually build your belief as you're reading what other people are doing without even saying company names. In part-time hours, what does the network marketing opportunity and community offer to you? Put it in the chat. Now, instead of focusing on money, we're focusing on meaning. So in part-time hours, does your business allow you to fund your retirement? In part-time hours, does your business allow you to send your kids to college? In part-time hours, does your business allow you to save? Whatever it is. And now when we share that story, by the way, with our prospects, it's meaningful. And it changes the way not only that we have gratitude and our attitude about the business, instead of, oh, I just made $300 last month. No, in part-time hours, it allowed me to, invest more, to save more, to do the things that I love more. And the more specific we are, the better. But think about how that translates with the prospect is they're sitting there and they're going, I want that too. And I can do that too. So we give lots of, I call them words that work inside of the Multiply method, because it is just simple ways that we can sell, and selling does not have to be that hard. And when we think about it, we don't just sell a product. One of our hero products, one of our most life-changing products is actually the opportunity in the community. So in using just simple language like that, like in part-time hours, my business allows me to do this. Great. You've just sold the community and the opportunity.
I love that. You have anything to say? Okay, so I want to go back to the book. No. So another thing that I think that you're completely clear on. So the entire industry profession has kind of turned itself upside down, and customer acquisition is everything, and kind of ignore the leaders is kind of the conversation, because it's so stupid. And in your book, you talk about calls for aspiring leaders. You talk about calls for leaders. You talk about a gift program where you're given coffee cards and things like that to let those leaders know that your eyes are popping open at 2:00 in the morning, thinking about their problems instead of sitting on the top of the mountain counting the money. Yeah. How important is that?
So important. I always say customer service is something that we create. It's not just something the company is responsible for. And it's not just for our customers. It's for every single ambassador on our team. And the thing is, and this is why I believe we had such a successful transition, because let me just say this. I've watched friends in other companies, even in my own former company, who didn't fare as well in a transition, right? They may have had big teams there and maybe not in this next chapter. But leaders lead on the mountaintop and in the valley. And in difficult times, leaders double down on leadership and relationships. So when I say 18 years in, we were still doing the calls. I was still leading from the front. If I could earn a purple pen, I'd run for the dang pen. Why? Because I was leading by example. So people trusted, if you walk into this next season, I trust you to lead. I trust you enough to say yes again. And even for new people too. So that has been, I think we have to think about that. And we're all in different stages of our business. I do want to say this. No business does this forever. None of them. You think like, now I'm not saying you, but those of you who are listening, you're like, oh, that won't be my company. I said the same thing. No company stays in momentum forever. In business and in leadership, there are good times and hard times. And there's going to be seasons where you're on the mountaintop and in the valley. The most important thing that you do in those seasons is lean into leadership, double down on relationships. Like when we were going through challenging times, I remember reading books. I'm like, we're going to turn this thing around. We're going to, renew things and blah, blah, blah. Ultimately, ours was a tale of private equity. That was never going to happen, no matter how hard we tried, because it kind of kept, taking things apart. But leadership is what led us into the next season.
That's exciting stuff. I think about what you just said around things never go up. And Eric Worre talks about it really, really well, to saying, stop setting your lifestyle up at the top of momentum, because it's going to come down.
Oh, yeah.
And, our friend Jeff Weisberg, do you know Weisberg? Oh, he's a great guy, or old Herbalife guy, been around for years. And I talked to him a couple of days ago, and he said, Tom, I want to do something to teach people financial literacy, and learning to do something smart with your money while you're making it is the most important thing, because we all go through seasons, and there is a black swan that's going to hit the pond in your business every year. Eric talks about that. He doesn't say black swan, but an event where either the FTC comes in and rattles the cage, or a big leg leaves. And you got to be ready for it. And the name of the game is all of us need to get smarter. And the days of the flash, I was just reading about all the stuff going on with iGenius and the lifestyle claims. And Troy Dooley did that little expose on that a couple of days ago. And what they get mad at is the pie in the sky.
Yeah.
And we can just teach these people to be smart with their money, to teach people how to have more money when they finally make it. It's something that you are an expert at. You're in a company that's been around for 100 years. How long?
It's over 70 years. And I love you. We busted a myth. The dumbest myth, can I say that? The silliest myth, I'll say that. The silliest myth ever is saturation. That's the goofiest thing. Like, since we joined a year ago, 200,000 people joined. Like, I'm just like, who makes up these things? Like, it boggles my mind. But here's the thing I will say, something you said about stewardship. One of my mentors early on, and this was the thing I was most thankful for, she would always tell me, I don't care what you make, live on 20% of what you make. And I didn't buy. So we lived in the Midwest for 40 some odd years. We did not buy our next home until that house was paid in full. That was it. It was like, and then we eventually sold there during COVID, decided to put our kids in school here and all of the things. But it's like, we were not in a position where we're like, oh no, we need to sell everything. What do we do? It's like, we could make decisions with peace.
Yeah.
You can't put a price on peace. That's the most important thing. So it's like, I do think, and the good thing is, and I joke, and I'm like, network marketing of the 1900s. Like, when I started, it was like you were taught, like, everybody had the checks and stood in front of the cars and all that. That's just what you did. That's what we were told to do, right? But now it's like people's priorities are changing. And I think, too, we have to change with the landscape, the environment that we're in. We have to change. And again, we focus on meaning versus money. It changes the name of the game.
Where do you want people to contact you? There's a lot of reasons to contact her. She could train your team. Obviously, you can buy the book. There's an inner circle that you've got. I mean, there's a zillion things. Where do you want people to try to reach out to talk to you?
Yeah, for people who are interested in coaching, I love coaching. It's at sarahrobbins.com, my name. And then the book is the multiplymethod.com. So this will actually officially release in just a few weeks, but people can pre-order it now. And when they pre-order now, we've got some great bonuses. So with one copy of the book, we're giving people the workbook. What's so cool is we give them ways to generate leads chapter by chapter. And we also have a challenge group too. So it's 30 days of generating leads in under 5 minutes a day. It's totally generic, good for anybody, good for any company. We've got a fun 5 bundle. So it's like you buy 5 books for you, your team, your future team. We're doing book club and coaching. So 6 sessions on the Multiply Method, and the coaching part is free, which is super cool. So that's at themultiplymethod.com. And it's going to be amazing. The thing I will say about the book is this. It is not a book of stories. There are some stories in there, again, to anchor, teaching points, but it is a book of systems. So you're going to learn sales. You're going to learn sponsoring. You're going to learn social media. You're going to learn how to successfully start people. For those who are leaders, there's duplication, or I like to say multiplication, right? As we multiply, and there's so much more. And so again, this is nearly 20 years of success, but now seen through the eyes of somebody who's in the trenches saying, what is working literally right now. 1 year, just 1 year into a rebuild, and the book was being rewritten as we were rebuilding too.
Look at Richard Brooke writing all the spiritual stuff in the comments. Put that up. Holy mackerel.
This is going to cover all of our faces.
Yeah, we're gone. Yeah, that's just beautiful, Richard. That's awesome. So the name of the game is, what I love about that is the people that are locking arms just on this show and at the top of this profession are going to be at the ANMP over in Dallas in the 15th of August. The tickets cost nothing. It is an event. You're going to get to meet these people. I don't think Brooke's coming here. I think he's got something far more important to do, but most people are coming, and it will be a blast. And you're going to see these people unplugged and without all the faulty raw around them. Nobody's a big deal. Everybody buys their own ticket and pays their own way in. And it's just a party of people at the top getting together. And I hope you'll come. And Sarah, you are a rock star, and this book is fantastic. And
Thank you.
It needs to be bought. It needs to be read, and it needs to be taught. And if you do that, you're going to have a business that's going to grow. And it's important. I'm going to tell you guys this right now because I've been working on a book for a very, very long time. And I'm so angry I couldn't finish it forever. And Adrian was so afraid I was going to die that it was unbelievable because, I almost did a year ago. July 24th, I got in that terrible car wreck, and I almost died. And I should have really taken the lesson then and gotten to work on it more, but I was convalescing. Pretty good word. And at the end of the day, John Milton Fogg called me on the phone and said, Tom, I know you better than you know yourself. You helped me get off the alcohol. My gift back to you is I'm going to force you to write a book. And I know you know him. And so he's really, really helped me put this thing together. We'll have it done in a couple of months. But
let me have to interview you.
Oh, yeah, that'll come. But if I'm still alive. But at the end of the day, what I want to tell all of you is hanging with somebody like her, Richard Brooke, Jordan Adler. I mean, you've got a chance. And I saw you love Doug Firebaugh too. And I know Firebaugh.
Yes. One of my mentors.
And obviously Donna and Thomas, you talk about two companies, talk about crazy.
Yeah.
They're in two different companies at the top, and they're not stealing people from each other or from you. Please, please, please trust these people aren't here to do anything but help you. That's that simple. And I love you. And I love you, Sarah, so much. You want to say, oh, Sarah, this is your luckiest day.
Wait, what is it?
Here's what we're going to give you. Your choice of a pink Love Like Crazy, Then Love.
I love it.
Love these, or any color you want. It can say Love Like Crazy, Then Love More, Fire Your Brain, Higher Your Heart. I love Misfits. You name it. We'll put it on there, but you are such a rock star. We want you running around with love. Because Fogg proved to me, by the way, that if we can get 40,000 people having their entire mission of life being love, we touch 1 billion people, and we don't have all this crazy anger and hate and conspiracy going on. It's all love. End of story. That's what I want. And you exemplify that. Buy this book, everybody. Sue Brenchley. Holy mackerel.
I know it.
Yeah. Or in Checkmate Hudson. I'm going to get this guy on the show. He called me a couple of days ago. He's got more famous people on his wall than anybody I've ever seen. And he's helped hundreds of little kids learn to play chess and love through that.
How cool.
And so we're going to bring him on because I just like the guy. But wow. I love you, Adrian.
I love you. What a great show. Sarah, thank you so much.
You made our day.
You guys are the best. You made my day. And thank you for helping me to multiply the message of the Multiply Method. I'm so excited to see how it helps people. And so excited just for this fresh season of building in our amazing profession. We're in the right place, guys, at the right time when people need hope the most. So you write it down. I heard it from a friend today. I am somebody's answer, and you are.
There you go. Michelle Barnes next week, everybody. We'll see you then. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.